This talks by the Pharaoh. Pardon the noise in the bag, it's just my AC going. Um, we're going to talk about today is recognizing some things while recognizing a lot. And I will say again, no, I'm not a doctor or a medical professional. I do not have degrees in anything. This is purely from my speculation and from what I've been learning through things I've been dealing with myself. And I'm sharing my experience. I'm not telling you this is how it really is for everybody else. Everyone's different when dealing with these things, and everyone's triggers, which we'll also talk about. Everyone's triggered differently. Everybody's wired differently, and that's what makes us amazing as individuals. But it's hard. So for a lot of people, it's hard to recognize when someone's going through some shit. And I just want to say is to the people who have friends that are suffering bad, or people who have loved ones that are suffering mentally from some shit, so yeah, it's gonna be hard for a lot of us to talk about it. It's hard for us to open up because we feel like we're over dumping, oversharing, or that we're too dark in the head, and that's part of the being afraid of abandonment and all that. It's another reason for, let's say, if someone pushes someone else away or something like that, because we're afraid to be hurt again, but that's still unfair to the other person to have to deal with that like it is. And I apologize for how I am and who I am, but I've been working on it. It's hard, but I'm putting in good effort for this. But let's get into it. So I guess the first thing we'll talk about is triggers. No, I think we'll talk about recognizing problems first, recognizing other people, because I think that's just equally as important as well, because you never know what's going, as it's been said time and time again, you never know what someone's going through, because can't say everybody, I don't know if everybody does this or a lot of people do this, but a lot of people do this, but to recognize when something's going on with them in public, with me, I guess I'd have to say an example because everyone's different, but I try to hide when I am going through some shit mentally, and that's not healthy because it bottles it up. But it's hard to open up at the same time, but that's something I need to work on as well. It's not healthy to do that. It's not healthy on your brain, it's just not healthy on your heart or anything, because that just makes it worse. And then there's conflict that comes from that because you're not opening up. And you end up fucking things up, or you end up resenting, or just a bunch of negative emotions towards other people, or you cause shit. So it's good to recognize that. So to recognize people going through shit, you'll notice with me, I'll just start, I'll give what might be noticeable to me, whenever I'm out in public, I do my best to not overthink or think shit, or just overanalyze shit. I've been working on that, but I'll get these 1,000-mile stares, or if I'm not hearing somebody, because I can't really call it selective hearing, I call it disconnecting. That's kind of a coping mechanism because me myself, most of my childhood when my mom and dad were together, there was a lot of fighting, and I've been learning when it comes to having to listen to parents fight all the time, a kid can learn at an early age how to disconnect, and that later becomes a problem in life if not checked and not noticed. But it's actually kind of rare for that to be noticed at an early age. It's usually up until when you're an adult that's if you even try to figure things out, because a lot of people are suffering from other shit on top of that. And so the finer details don't get noticed, and that could be the straw that breaks the camel's back, in my opinion. But I'll get these 1,000-mile stairs. As I said, I tune things out, so sometimes when someone's talking to me, like, I honestly do not mean to, like, ignore or not hear what people say. Like, I disconnect sometimes because, like, something's bothering me in my head or in my heart, and I get these sharp aches in my side and shit, and I start to disconnect. And then, like, another thing is, like, the music I listen. Oh, I'm trying to change the music I listen to. But, like, or if I, like, suddenly start I'm a silly person. I like to think so. I do weird, silly things. I can be quite spontaneous, and when I'm spontaneous and I just, like, act stupid or silly, and, like, well, my description of stupid or silly is making weird noises just to, like, make someone laugh or make weird faces, because, like, I'm trying to break myself out of that mode, or it's like I gotta take my mind off it and get out my head, get out of that situation. And so I could say, like, I'm a pretty weird person, I guess. I like to think I'm funny. I mean, I got a dark sense of humor as well, but I try to be as funny as I can because I like putting smiles on people's faces. I like making people laugh. It's like, if I get distance or it takes me time to reply, I really gotta think, because, like, sometimes, like, my mind just can't work properly. There'll be days where I won't function properly because my mind's just, like, I'm disassociating sometimes. Like, I can't even help it sometimes. And I really try to break myself out of that because it's not good. I get sucked back into the dark thoughts, and, like, I got good things happening right now for me. I got some really, really good things going for me right now. Like, so most people would say, it's like, why are you feeling like that? Why are you still struggling? It's like, this is a lifelong struggle, and I'm learning how to be okay with that. I'm learning how to be okay with, like, this is what I'm going to be struggling for the rest of my life. And I can let it break me, or I can win, or I can let it break me, and I'm not letting it break me. There's so many times I thought it broke me, and to be completely honest, I was talking to someone today who's dealing with some shit mentally, and I came up with, I can't, if I remember right what I told him, I was like, it's like, you're still here, right? You're still breathing. Like, that means you have not given up. And he kind of looked at me because he was telling me about how he doesn't see his worth, which I have a problem with as well, and he doesn't see, like, his progress and shit most of the time, because, like, as I said, people are stuck in some shit. Like, when you're stuck in shit, you don't feel like you're going nowhere. So I told him this. I was like, you're alive, right? You're breathing and shit? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well then, that's progress. Like, you gotta be proud on that. Like, are you who you were, like, maybe a year ago? If not, then that's fucking progress. Like, even if it's a little bit, and you should be proud of yourself, because honestly, like, if I honestly gave up, at any point I wanted to give up, I wouldn't be here. That's not a promise, it's not a threat, it's not me making ideations or anything like that. That's straight up fact. I would not be here if I legitimately gave up. Despite the times how many I've tried, I would have given up. It would have been done by now. I wouldn't be here talking about this. So, like, I'm learning to be thankful that I'm alive, and I went through, like, I regret putting myself through all that shit. Yes, I do. But I've learned so much because of it. But it's not something you should be putting yourself through. You shouldn't go down that route, because choices. It really boils down to choices. And, like, as I said in the last one, emotions are strong, especially with me. Like, I feel so much. It's as if I'm the feeling itself, if that makes sense. Like, when I say I love, I fucking love. When I say I am depressed. I am fucking depressed. When I say I am in the darkest spot in my mind, I am in the darkest fucking spot in my mind. Like, it's not just a fleeting moment. It's not just like, all right, I feel yucky for a little bit. Nah, it's like I feel the emotion at its core. I feel the energy. It affects me. It affects everything around me. Like, I feel like sometimes I could see it. I know I sound crazy, but I feel like this is me speaking on me. I know I'm kind of getting off track because I was supposed to be talking about like signs of when someone's not doing okay. With me, I get jittery. I get a little nervous. I start looking around more. I get paranoid. That's another sign. And like, so that also comes with the triggers, because now I'm going to move on to the triggers, because there's like, you're going to have to look into this yourself, like Google it, Wikipedia or something. Like, as I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm merely speaking from my speculation and from my experiences and how I am. I am sharing this with you so y'all know, like, please look out for your loved ones, and please look out for those that are going distant. Like, I don't care what y'all's beef are at the moment. I don't care if, like, it's a fucked up situation. Like, too many people are losing the battle and shit. Like, I've noticed that a lot, and that's not okay. Like, it's not okay that people are losing so much. And I want to help if I can. So, triggers. My personal definition of a trigger, again, this is just me, my speculation, and my opinion. Do what you will with it, but I'm not saying I'm stating fact. I'm not saying I am correct in any of this, all right? I'm just speaking from my experience and my opinion, my perception. So here we go with triggers. Like, almost anything, if not anything, could be a trigger. Like, a trigger has to deal with like some trauma or some shit you went through that fucking you haven't healed from properly or haven't healed from at all. Like, any kind of trauma, because trauma, in my opinion, is something like, how would I describe trauma? I would describe trauma like flashbacks or something you shouldn't have had to go through as a kid or an adult. You shouldn't have seen shit that changed your mental state, shit that negatively impacts on your life, that makes it harder to exist, harder to function, like sleep, eat, all that, harder to clean yourself. That's trauma. That's what trauma does. That's trauma. Like, you're mentally traumatized and it affects you physically. I don't care what people say, like mental health, yeah, it's in the brain, but that still affects you physically. That's still affecting you physically. It's not just in your head, because at that point when you're so stuck in it, it's fucking, like, you'd be surprised. Like, stress can cause heart attacks, depression, all this shit can cause heart attacks, all this shit can really fuck people up, especially if, but anyway, triggers, like, say like you and a girlfriend broke up or something, or you and a girlfriend broke up, and like, it's been a while, but you're still like heartbroken, and then you end up like, let's just say for a fact that it was a fucked up situation, and you're just going about your day doing your thing, moping around, and not to make it sound so harsh, being sad and whatnot, and trying to deal with it, and you'll get you may even still smell her around you, him or her, or other, however they identify, just get that clear, however the person identifies. And you might get their scent, you might still have clothes or memories, like anything like that, that'll cause a trigger in your brain, and you will remember everything. Like, that shit will trigger, sometimes it'll trigger good memories, but most of the time triggers only trigger bad memories for the most part. As I said, this is my speculation and my opinion. Like, certain songs trigger me, certain smells, certain tastes. I just have a weird thing with taste and smell, I guess, and touch, but certain memories, like, I keep memories like a motherfucker, like, for the most part. And I've actually been getting rid of a lot of memories, or just end up forgetting about a lot of the bad memories, because like I'm making new ones now, trying my best to make happy and good, positive memories. And this has taken me a long time to work on. But there's like music triggers me, and like when I get triggered, I start getting panicky, I get anxiety, like I hear specific songs, or I see certain drinks, because like I had a problem with drinking, or like if I get certain smells like from drinks as well, or if I see certain people, or if I hear certain words specifically, certain names, like that shit will trigger me. And when I'm triggered, like that takes me back to a dark place. It takes me to the dark parts of my mind, and it's hard for me to get out. And I honestly try. I honestly do. It's not easy, but again, I apologize. It's not fair for me. I know I got to work on myself, and like, you know what? I got to take care of me too. And I'm aware that that's what I need to do, and that's what I've been doing. I'm doing my best. That's all I can say, is like I'm trying not to let it get back to that point. And I've had help, and I still have help, and I'm working on it, and there's hope for everybody. There's hope for you. There's hope for me. Shit, like, we're all in this together. Like, this is a struggle for life. It really is, because like we're all just so disconnected as a human race right now. It's not even funny. And the shit ain't even being touched upon. We're all worried about what's going on the news and shit, while us as humans are divided, and the love is gone, and all that shit. But that's a story. That's a talk for another time, not a story. Blah. But it's hard to break triggers. But as I said, like, if you can make good memories to replace the bad, like try and make it to replace, try and get your, it all also has to do with thought process and how you are and shit. And like, if you're willing and putting in energy and time into working on yourself, because that in itself is very important, even when you don't feel like you have the energy to do it. Even if you're doing a little bit, as I said, that's progress. That is progress, and be proud of yourself. Anything can be an achievement when you set yourself small goals. Because like, something I also learned is like, even if it's just making your bed in the morning, for instance, like you already started the day with a task completed, and that inevitably goes in a loop, and you are continuously finishing tasks no matter how big or small they are, and that gives you structure and makes you feel accomplished for the day, and that is very healthy for us. That is what we need. Structure is, sometimes you need to change the living fuck out of what you do. You gotta change your music, you gotta change what you watch, because sometimes a lot of the time it's all subliminal. Like, you may be like, oh, I like doing this, it doesn't cause me any harm, but in the long run it might. Take a look at the triggers that you have, like what triggers this shit, like what bothers me to the point where it brings me back to the bad place. But like, don't look down on yourself for feeling like that. Don't look down at yourself for having triggers or trauma, because you should never feel bad about who you are. You shouldn't. It's like, yeah, we're fucked up. Like, this could take a lot of work, or yeah, we can be a little much at times, but like, we're all special. We all do what we can. We gotta do what we can. We cannot fail. We cannot lose. Like, I know that's hard. That's one of the hardest things to ask yourself, is to learn to forgive yourself and learning to accept. It's like, all right, this is what's wrong. It's like, what am I gonna do about it? Am I gonna sit and stew, which is easier said than done, because like, you gotta take into account with all the other shit you might be diagnosed with. But it's like, you know what? As long as you are making an effort in any way to help yourself, that is better than nothing. I will tell you that right now. And if you're making even the smallest of effort, I'm proud of you, and I hope you know that, because as you progress, it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger. There'll be bigger achievements. Start small. Enjoy the little things, as they say in Zombieland. think I forgot what rule number that was, but that really stuck with me. You gotta enjoy the little. Sometimes it's the little things that create big ripples. Like, you gotta remember that. And like another thing is like I have a hard time sleeping because like I fucking hate being alone. That's how it is. That's just what it is. I hate being alone. I'm stuck in my head. Like as I said, I'm trying to give myself structure and trying to like do different things, keep myself busy and stuff. But like there are times like now where like I can't sleep. I'm thinking a little bit, but nothing too negative right now, honestly. I'm trying my best. Like as I said, like I'm focusing on the good things that are coming my way and the effort I am putting into myself. And to a point, it's unfair to put all this shit on someone else, to a point. And the reason I say this is because it's just like, I think in the first or second video like this I made, I explained that if you aren't doing anything at all to like help yourself, like, of course, if you're in a situation where you're absolutely fucked and you can't help yourself, I mean, there may be a situation where you're gonna have to force yourself to find a way, but I'm not gonna judge. But all I can say is, like, if you're just sitting there and not doing anything about what's wrong, and that just means you're losing the battle and you need to get back up. Like, I know it hurts, I know it sucks. I'm not telling you to buck up. Like, I'm not telling you to hide your shit. Nah, wear your scars with pride. Wear your fucking scars with pride, because you know what? A lot of people don't make it through this shit. And us that do, we're survivors of ourselves. Like, that's one of the hardest lessons. One of the hardest lessons of life is you got to survive yourself. You got to survive your brain, because as much as our brain is important to us and it keeps us going, yeah, and we got to take care of it. We got to, like, but we can also be our worst enemies. And you got to realize that, like, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take a lot of time. I can't honestly say that we'll be completely healed or completely better, but what we can do with the progress we're making and what we're learning, what we can at least do is manage it. Make it manageable. Make it to where you are able to manage it. You're able to recognize it, because no matter what, there's going to be breakdowns. There's going to be shutting down. There's going to be where you go back to that space for a little bit. Allow yourself to breathe. Allow yourself to take a step back when that happens. Don't let it build up. Don't let it pent up. And like, if you're with anybody or if you're with friends you can trust talking about shit like that, I suggest like be like, hey, we need to talk and sit down, and all I want is just someone to listen to me and acknowledge my pain and listen to my pain. You don't exactly have to know what we go through. You don't have to know how I'm exactly feeling, but it's nice to have someone just sit there and listen and be like, all right, I ain't gonna judge you for how you are, but we're gonna fix this, or we're gonna try to, or we're gonna try something, you know, because like, you gotta at least try. You gotta try. I hate the whole only do, no try, some shit like that, you know, but fuck that. Like, making an effort is one of the biggest steps, that's in my opinion. And yeah, like as I said, I feel this is me personally, I feel it all. Like, I feel it off. I feel the vibes off people. Like, I could almost completely read people just by the feeling I get in a room, or the feeling I'm with next to a person. I get the vibes, and like, sometimes that's like a sensory overload, and that just overwhelms my brain and my body, because like, I don't know what the fuck to do about it, because like, I don't know how to read some of it if there's too many vibes coming off at once, or too much different energy coming off, or like I'm in an uncomfortable place, I'm gonna be confused as fuck. And that's another thing too that I've been working on, because it's like, I'm trying to better myself, because I want to have an amazing relationship. I want shit to be good. I want to be with the person, you know, like, but I don't want to push them away or scare them away or bore them or make them think I'm completely batshit nuts, because like beyond fucked up, but I've been working on it. Like, I don't want to put nothing on them. I don't want to put too much on them, but I'm still opening up and working on it because, like, you know, you can't be afraid all the time. Being afraid is what does it. Not opening up is what does it. Not being able to trust someone enough does it, because that's where the trust issues come in. I've been learning that a lot as of recently, and it's been helping me see things a little bit clearer, because it's like, you know what? Yeah, I am making myself extremely vulnerable, but I'm opening up. I'm finally opening up that shell and being able to trust again, being able to feel more positive, being able to love, being able to laugh, being able to actually live, not survive. Because, like, for the longest time, I've always been in a fight or flight responsive mode because of all the shit in my head and everything that triggers me, and when I wasn't working on it, when I wasn't working on myself, and it was bad. But, like, I told myself one day, I was like, you know what, I need to get the fuck up and start doing shit, because, like, I can't live my life like this. I can't be like this no more. Like, yeah, I want to go, I want my suffering to end, but I'm telling myself that's not the way for me, because I'm still kicking, I'm still breathing, I'm still here, so I'm going to keep fighting that fight. No matter how bad I get knocked down, I'm going to still get up until my dying breath. I guarantee you that. I'm going to not give up. I won't let what's going on with me have that power over me, because, as I said, emotions are so fucking strong with me. Like, it's as if, like, I'm being taken over by them, or I just turned into the emotions I'm feeling. I'm no longer me, I'm just the emotions I feel, if that makes sense. And it's a weird feeling. Like, on top of all that, there's the impulsive acts, there's the overthinking and all that shit, and it's just way too much for a single person. And, like, to put that on another person is unfair, especially if they aren't, like, really prepared, or if they can't, which there's nothing wrong with a person not being able to hold other people's baggage, because it's like, you know what, they may be going through some shit themselves. And that's fine, because you know what? You can't expect everybody to hold your shit. You can't have a helping hand all the fucking time. And I know that. I'm getting used to being open and talking about shit. It's taken me some time, and I apologize for that, but recognizing and being able to nip it in the butt, like, with anybody you care about, that's something I gotta shout out. I gotta shout out importance to, because, yeah, even if you're not able to prevent it, if you're not able to stop what happens, you know how much it helps when someone's like, oh shit, this person ain't all right, and you're like, all right, I'm recognizing some things that are going on. Let's go somewhere, sit and get through this, or let's go and talk, or, like, not saying you have to always constantly watch out for someone. That's not what I'm asking. I'm not asking for a babysitter or people to be a babysitter or something, because that's not right as well. But, like, when you're having a good time, having fun, or just spending quality time with somebody, just keep an eye out for some of the signs. Like, even Google it or look up some of the symptoms, some of the signs, because, like, everybody's different, as I said. If you recognize any of the signs, like, depending on how you go about it, you might be able to get them to talk. And this is also something, like, if you know someone that's going through the shit, and they always hide it, but we sometimes allow people we truly care about to see a little bit inside of what's going on, without actually, like, saying what's going on, to see how they take it, or to see anything from it, to see the reaction, and to see, like, if this person's really okay with me, or if this person truly cares and loves me. Because it's like, it's hard to be this open sometimes without worrying. That's the over worrying part too, which I'm also working on, but it's just fact right there for me. something I've also recognized as of recently. I know this is going to be kind of long because this kind of hits the it really hits the feels for me. And I want other people to know, like, there's a lot of shit to recognize, and if you can even just sit down and, yeah, they're going through shit, they're breaking down, or they're just silent, just give them some company through it. Like, it sucks being alone or feeling like you're alone because you feel like no one's there that could truly get you or understand how you're feeling or what you're going through. Like, company is what matters in those times when you're out with somebody. Like, when you're feeling alone in it, that makes it so much fucking worse. That, like, as I said, there is to a point where it would be considered babysitting or anything. Like, some people are needy and clingy as fuck. Just remember that. Like, if you're gonna give that time, please do so willingly and knowing that we are gonna crave a lot for a long time while we heal. Just like, I know I get annoying when I'm talking with someone I care about, and then I'm wanting to, when I'm with someone, the person I'm with, like, I know I text a lot. I say some of the same things. It's not just for reassurance because I want to hear it back, but it honestly makes me feel good that I have someone close to connect to and talk to. Like, we also have the tendency to ask if we're bugging someone or if we're being annoying, and I know it gets annoying. And I'd like to apologize for everybody that is like that too, because, like, the reassurance heals us, and in time, we won't be asking so much, you know? It's like, but I always love being told, hey babe, love you babe, or even just that, or just a kiss, or just like, hey, how's it going, love, something like that. Like, if y'all got, like, names like that, or boo, or bae, or whatnot, you know? Like, if you're with somebody and you're calling each other lovey names like that, like, even that itself, like, lifts me up just enough to keep going. I know it's silly, but, like, these feelings I can't replicate, these feelings that I've been feeling as of late, and now I cannot duplicate, I cannot give to anyone else. And I guarantee you that I put that on my existence and the rest of my existence, whether it's in this life or the next. I will vow on that. I can't. But there's also another thing. It's the all or nothing thing, which is, that's an issue too. And I feel like there are times where, like, I'm fucking everything up because, like, I know it's kind of bad. I don't know how others would see it, but all or nothing is basically like, you either give someone your all or you don't give anything at all. Like, but I'm always give it all. The only reason I'm not giving nothing is if I am so stuck in a bad place, or if I'm so fucked up, going through really bad breakdown shit mentally, like back when I was in a really bad fucking spot. And the times that I do get in bad spots, I try not to give anything. I try to still give my all, even if I am not doing okay. I try not to be, I do my best. Like, the all or nothing thing is also a thing to recognize too, because it's like, you know what, like, with people like us, it's hard to only give a little bit. It's hard to not give an ocean when a person only requires a fucking drop. Like, for me, that's hard, and it's overwhelming for most people. But we feel so intense. Like, it's kind of like how we feel about relationships. Like, when it comes to that, the all or nothing, for me personally, when I love like that, when I give my all, as I said, I feel it like it's the energy itself. I feel the love itself. I am the love itself. That's how I feel. I fantasize. I'm like, this is what I've been wanting. This is what I've been looking for a long fucking time. This is the only shit that really only appears in video games and movies, or at least in my mind, because, like, I done fucked up way too much. I done pushed people away way too fucking much. I've I've fucked a lot up in my life, and I'm now getting on track and realizing shit, accepting that I'm a fuck up, and I am pushing through despite how bad certain things hurt. Like, I'm still continue on. Like, I'm no longer that person no more. I'm not. Shit that happened a year ago, that's no longer me. Shit that happened 2 years ago, that's no longer me. Like, shit that happened like 5 months ago, no longer me. Just given random time frames. Like, I'm different now, and I'd like to thank the people in my life right now for helping me see that and reach that. Like, not everybody has that, and I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the people who listen, the people who share, because this is something we all need to hear. I appreciate everybody that's been there for me, even in the darkest times, and thank you for putting up with me, because I'm not easy to put up with, and I am so sorry. Like, I am very sorry for the shit that I put y'all through, because, like, I'm just glad y'all get a break from me, because honestly, I don't get a break for myself. That was a funny picture I saw on Facebook the other day. I'm like, yeah, I kind of get that. You know, like, I get really bad mood swings too. That's another thing, is like the mood swings are fucking bad. Like, that's the thing. Like, I go 0 to 100 real quick. That's the all or nothing thing, I guess. Partly too. Like, I know I'm not bipolar. I mean, it kind of sounds like bipolar, but I keep getting treated like I have bipolar, but I know that's not what it is. But that's another thing to look out for, and like, I hope y'all work on it as much as you can, because like, I'm doing my best, and I hate to see others suffer. I do. I really fucking do, because like, I know suffering. I know pain, whether it's self-inflicted suffering or it's me destroying myself self-intentionally or shit like that from the past. You know, like, I know suffering. At least I know pain, and I understand and acknowledge your pain. And it's okay. I mean, yeah, it's not okay to be suffering so much, but it's also okay to be not okay. You shouldn't be persecuted for how you feel, even if it upsets other people for a little bit. But like, you know what? Like, if you're feeling like that, you're feeling like that. Like, a person that truly cares will stick through it with you, despite the fucking trouble that's along the way. That's the whole part of the journey and the healing process. It's fucking difficult. It's terrifying. It's fucking nerve-wracking. It's a lot of sleepless nights. Some days you won't even eat. Fucking, it's a lot of change. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of stress. It's a lot. But if a person is willing to go through that, or both people are willing to go through that with each other, then, because in my opinion, like, how can you accept somebody in a relationship if you can't accept their dark side? If you cannot handle them at their worst, you cannot handle them at their best. Because, you know what, if you could be through the dark times, then everything's all right. Like, it's gonna be good, because a person is gonna need you the most in their darkest times, because they will absolutely feel like they got no one else to turn to, nothing else, and they'll just sit there and dwell and fucking stew in the pot. And it's not easy to do. It's not easy to deal with. It's not, and I apologize for that. Like, but to those that stick around, y'all are rare and very appreciated, more than we can ever say. And I don't know if there's ever a way we could pay you back, but we try to with our love, and we try to with our appreciation. And we're doing our best not to like fuck it up. We're doing our best not to like treat you like shit or be an asshole or anything. Like, trying our best, but there's hope for everybody, and I love y'all, and I hope y'all know that, and I hope these messages will spread. I do. I really fucking do, because I ain't telling you what you want to hear. I'm telling y'all what you need to hear, and that's what it is. I'm keeping it true. Like, that's what we need. And if you need help relaxing, or just something for like to stimulate the senses for like sleep or anything at night, sometimes I listen to Chill Step. Alan Watts, like a philosopher next to Chill Step. It's kind of like a sleep EDM or dubstep, but it's for sleeping and relaxing, kind of like lo-fi hip-hop. But I personally like to listen to Alan Watts, like the philosopher mixtapes. Some of them are like anywhere from like an hour long to 10. They can be anywhere from like 30 minutes to 10 hours. There's even smaller ones where it's just one song, but like I used to prefer like the 10-hour ones or the 3-hour ones or the 1-hour ones, because there'd be nights where I'm just up all night, and it's good to hear, no offense to the philosophers, but they kind of got that boring voice. It's kind of like drinking a glass of milk, and hearing them talk philosophy like kind of helps me. I'm not telling you that's what y'all should do, but it's an idea to start looking at something. It's a base for y'all to build upon. That's what we all need, is a base, because like the more we start seeing shit clearly, the more the path becomes clear. We start to recognize and change and realize, like, all right, I finally know what my purpose is. I finally know what I need to do. I just need to put forth the effort and the energy and the time and be patient, because progress will be achieved if you do that. But again, I love you. It's like, and there's hope. Just know that, like, I'm gonna keep repeating myself a lot in all these videos, because reassurance is what we all need, even if y'all are not gonna say it out loud. Like, reassurance is needed. It is. Like, to me personally, I believe reassurance can be needed, because like it just reassures, even if it feels a little annoying. Just please remember, like, put good energy towards reassurance. Put good energy when you're reassuring someone, because like even a small bit of reassurance can change someone's day from being completely shitty to being like a fucking great day. Like, the power that you have to change someone's day is so fucking amazing. Like, especially when they're going through the shit mentally. Like, if you know someone that changes your day like that, fucking golden, you're lucky. You're fucking lucky, because not a lot of people have that. And I hope every person finds that special soul, and I hope everybody gets to this point. I hope everybody does better. I hope everybody finds their way, because we need to. This is what we deserve. And I love you guys. Let's keep it up.